Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be decorating my journal pages with you using some ephemera that I've saved in March. These are mostly from orders that I got over the course of the month. And this is in my freeform journal where I like to write out thoughts, recap events, write song lyrics, all kinds of things. And I thought this would be nice to have playing in the background while I give a life update and catch you up. I keep on hitting the mic, I'm sorry. Catch you up on what's been going on in my life where I've been for the past more than 6 months. So if you have any questions on my process, on anything I've used, please leave a comment and I will answer you there. But let's get right into it. So I did ask for questions on Instagram as well on topics that you want to hear about to guide this discussion. And most of the questions were on my job, which also is my biggest update that I have. So I think the majority of this video will be focused on that. And then I had a few other questions on tarot, more reflection-based questions on what it's like being in my late 20s versus my early 20s, which I thought was a great question. If I have time, I'll go into that. If not, then I'll do a part 2. So if you didn't know, I started a new job last month in mid-February, which has been really exciting. So for those of you who don't know, my professional background, I studied computer science in college. I went to UC San Diego, and around 2 years ago, I started my first corporate job in the tech industry as a business systems analyst. I'm still in that role today at my new job. Essentially, the TLDR of this role is being a pivotal translation layer between cross-functional teams. So, for example, doing discovery with a customer or a client, which is gathering requirements and then translating that into user stories, or basically requirements that the development team can understand and code off of, and then helping with user acceptance testing, UAT, all the way to helping the training team understand the functionality so that they can create SOPs, standard operating procedures for the people that are actually going to use the system once it's built. And in some cases, I will even deliver that training myself. And afterwards, when the build is live, being on production support, usually there'll be a production support team after hypercare, which is around 2 weeks or more of this time period where the core team that was building or working on the project is available to troubleshoot any issues that come up, but still often after that hypercare period will still be available for support if anything comes up. So that's a broad overview of what my day-to-day is like. So around May or June of last year, I went on a hiatus on YouTube because work just got really busy. I was working with and for a couple clients at that time. And for one of the clients, we had a really big project that was about to go live. We had been working on that project since September, and there were just a lot of things to finish up before go live. So I was spending a lot of hours at work. And because I'm still relatively new to my career, I'm always put in, while many situations, tasks are still new to me, so sometimes it can be challenging. And I mean this in a good way. Anyway, I thought that I would be back after a month or two away because I had known that after that project went live, I was going to roll off of that client and just focus solely on my other client. But what happened was I got pulled back into that client because a business analyst and a senior business analyst was leaving. So basically taking over both of those roles for that project. So as you can imagine, it got really intense for me really quickly. It was challenging for me both professionally, well, just mainly professionally, but obviously, we spend so much time at work. It has an effect on our personal and mental health and life and health as well. But I look back on it with such gratitude because that experience, having to take over two roles, a BSA role and a senior BSA role in this way, really helped fast track my professional growth and has a huge part in me getting the interviews that I did and landing the job that I'm at now. So all good things, but I'm not gonna lie, I was very tired and mentally exhausted, especially towards the end of last year. That's a good segue into the job search. So honestly, I was just putting out feelers. I met up with a friend who works at a really cool company in Sweden. Many of you might know this already, but, or maybe you don't. I don't know if I ever said, but I really wanted to find a job in Stockholm because I went to visit him and I thought it was the coolest thing. I am like so impressionable in that way. I think the reason that I switched my major from human biology to computer science was a friend, a different one, hearing about his experiences at the time. He was an intern, a software engineering intern at Tumblr, and I thought it was the coolest thing as well. And I also got to visit he had worked as an intern or a software engineer at another company called Social Print. And they basically printed out your Instagram photos on really nice photo paper, which was pretty cool at the time. This was around 8 years ago. And then I was like, I want to do that too. So changed my changed my major, although I will say computer science suits my personality much more than human bio, I think. Anyway, tangent. The point is that I gave him my resume. I didn't hear back from that company that he worked at, which is fine. I don't know. Maybe my experience wasn't a good fit. But then I was looking at my resume in a more objective light, and I thought, or I guess maybe this is subjective, a more subjective light. I thought, does this resume that I have right now actually show who I am as a person holistically, not just, like my technical or professional background? I wanted it to show more of who I was essentially. And the template that I had been using was so old, I hadn't changed it in years. It was time. So I revamped my resume. I made it way more modern. I added color. I used different fonts, more modern fonts without the serif, I think. And I added my profile picture, and I just really loved the way it turned out. And I will say I did create this resume with my next job in mind. I wanted to work for a modern tech company. So the way my resume is formatted right now with the colors and everything may not be appropriate for all professions, but absolutely for the role that I was and type of company that I was looking for. So once I revamped that, I basically wanted to test it and see, would I hear back more from companies. And so off and on, I would just apply to jobs every now and then, starting, I think it was around September when I revamped. The end of November, beginning of December, sorry, hit the mic again, is when I applied for 2 really cool companies. One of them is Rivian. They are an electric vehicles maker, competitor to Tesla. Really love their brand ethos and just their product, their focus on community, their thoughtful design. If you're looking to purchase an EV, would recommend that you check them out. Went through final rounds with them, around 6 interviews or so, but that didn't work out. The other company that I interviewed for was Docker, as you can see on the screen here. That's where I'm at now. Docker is a tech company that basically ships software and what's needed to run that software in single units called containers. Now, these are virtual containers, not actual physical containers. And the mascot is a whale called Moby, so that's why you see me using the whale emoji now all the time. I am so happy here. I know I just completely talked through that journaling part, but basically I saved the poem that they sent along with flowers for International Women's Day, which is incredible. Total surprise. I was not expecting it at all. I mean, I would never get that at my previous company, which is not a knock on my previous company. It's just a testament to how cool Docker is. And I do want to read some excerpts from some journal entries I wrote last month when I was reflecting on the whole job search experience and Docker. So basically, I had first heard of them from my brother, who had used Docker on one of his projects that he worked on with Cisco when he was studying computer science in college. And then I actually tried it for myself once when I was just trying to practice web security, so practice hacking, and the project that I was working on used Docker, so that's how I kind of got familiar. But I really didn't know anything about the culture of the company and the people that worked there. But right from the beginning, when I started the interview process, they were so engaging and proactive in communication and just moving the interview process forward. And then I wrote, Docker showed me what it means to value and want someone and how to be treated. Wow. Yeah, I think that's something that really stood out to me, which I went through 5 rounds. Everybody said or remarked on the culture and the people there, how everybody was super open and collaborative and there were no jerks there. And I know everybody says that, or I mean, you hear that a lot in interviews, but I could feel how genuine that was. For example, I typically send out thank yous to everybody I interview with, and I never expect a response because I've never gotten one. But for the first time, I received a response from the director of engineering, which is one of the people I interviewed with, just saying thank you back and wishing me luck on the next round, which was amazing and it just felt so nice, you know? Anyway, as you can tell, I'm really excited about this role and really excited to be able to share that. My previous role was healthcare adjacent and working with patients. So, you know, with that, and there's privacy and everything, it just didn't feel as appropriate to share where and what I was working on. But Docker is really community focused. A lot of developers and coders use it, and we're hiring. So let me know if you're interested. I've been, you know, recommending Docker to people left and right because I just really love it here. And also another thing that's cool about my role here is that I'm the first BSA they've hired. So not only do I get to do my day-to-day tasks, but I get a say in the direction and defining what this role will be like for Docker in the future, which was also something that I was really excited for when I joined. So that's pretty much it when it comes to where I am with my job. Oh, I did get a question on if I have to do any certifications or anything like that for my job. I work with Salesforce, both at my last role as a Salesforce consultant and in this role a little bit as well. So I do have 2 Salesforce certifications and I think they are pretty useful. My job doesn't necessarily need it, but it's a nice to have. So that was my life update when it comes to my job. I'll touch upon the other questions in future videos. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.